Welcome back to Real Talk Fitness with AMPT. I'm your host, Ashley Cummins. I'm a business owner, a mum of two energetic boys, and I really brought this podcast to life because I want to share other people's stories and their perspective and just be able to share lessons that they've learned through their journey with you guys. And I feel I had Gemma today on the podcast, and I will pop her Instagram in the description because, my God, absolute inspiration in terms of so many different aspects. And how this came about before I reached out to Gemma is I seen her at my most recent powerlifting comp, and I was like, my God, she's strong. And as you do, started following her on social media, and I was like, oh my God, she's done everything from bodybuilding to Olympic lifting to CrossFit to powerlifting to, my ultimate dream, teaching Cert 3 and 4 in fitness. I was like, I need to get this girl on the podcast. I feel like, how did all these sports align? How do you juggle all of those things? And what are your lessons? Because we all learn lessons by either making mistakes and going through the journey. And I feel like hearing it from somebody else is so powerful. So I really hope you guys enjoy this episode, and let's begin. All right, so thank you so much for coming onto the podcast, Gemma. I'm so excited to share this, having a quick little conversation with you beforehand. So excited, and so much I think that we can talk about and share with other people. So very keen to get into this.
Thank you. So am I.
Give me a bit of a quick overview from doing running group training sessions, teaching CrossFit, Olympic weightlifting, powerlifting, bodybuilding. Give me sort of like a bit of a background, like how did this journey start, and how did everything sort of, I feel like this is going to be a lot for you to say in once, but how did all of this sort of come about?
It really is a lot, to be honest, because um, it's funny, like we've been talking to you about it all. I sometimes forget how much I've done. But yeah, so basically what happened was I was working in sales. I've been in sales for years and years and years. When I was younger, I was at uni, and then I got into a sales job, and I was working in the city in Sydney. And I was just going to gyms and stuff, and I had, at the time, I actually had an online coach, and I really wanted to do a bodybuilding comp. Like, I'd had friends who'd done bodybuilding comps, sorry, and I really wanted to do one. So, I've been training and working towards it and so on. And then what happened was I was working in this office, and I remember when I started, like, everyone was like a sales environment. So everyone was, eating shit, and they were drinking heaps and stuff, and smoking. Like, everyone was, it's pretty full on, and partying, and a lot of drinking, put it that way. And I I was getting ready for a bodybuilding comp at the time, and I was losing weight, and everyone was just like, what are you doing? Like, how are you losing weight? What's going on? Like, what do you actually do? And when I first started, no one went to the gym, and our building was actually on the other side of the Galleries Victoria. So it was like the Citigroup building in the city, and like opposite was Fitness First. And so that's where I used to go to train. And so every morning I'd catch a train at like 4:30 in the morning to get to Sydney so I used to live in Wollongong, and I'd catch a train to Sydney, um, get to work, or get to the gym, train before the work started, train again at lunchtime, and then at night I'd come home, and that was my day sort of thing. And so I was losing a lot of weight, getting ready for this comp, and my guys were like, how are you losing this weight? So I just said, look, I'm just going to the gym. That's all I've been starting to do, is go to the gym. And then all of a sudden, all these people started to go to the gym. It was hilarious. We'd all at lunchtime be going to the gym. And my boss approached me, and she's like, I want you to train me. I said, I can't train you. I'm not a trainer. She's like, I don't care. I want you to train me. And I was like, oh,
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
So I started training her, and she lost 5 kilos and fell pregnant. And her and her husband had been trying to fall pregnant for years. And yeah, she ended up having her first and only baby they ever had. So I was kind of like, you know what, I can actually do this. This is cool. And so at the same time, I'd met a trainer at Fitness First who was into CrossFit. So he just found CrossFit as well. It was pretty much in the inception of CrossFit when it first started back in, early 2006, 2007.
Yeah.
And I said to him, I go, look, I really want you to train me. And he goes, "Do you want me to train you how, I train you or train like a regular client?" Because he knew I wanted to get into PT and stuff. I said, no, like, train me like I'm me, I'm your client. So he put me through my first CrossFit session, and I was literally, my ass was on, like, I was lying in a puddle of my own sweat. Like, I was like, what just happened?
Yeah,
Had my
wow.
ass absolutely handed to me. And I was never a fit, like, person. I was never into training massively. Like, I did go to the gym, through uni and through school and stuff, but I was never athletic by any means. I was a music nerd. Like, I played violin and piano for my whole childhood. So,
Yeah, wow.
um, yeah, so I was never into hardcore training or anything. And then, yeah, so he trained me and I fell in love with CrossFit at the same time as I became a PT. And then it's just sort of branched out from there. So I've been in the industry, like, I've been working in the industry about 20 years. I've been, I've been in the CrossFit world as a CrossFit coach for about 20 years as well. And I sort of saw it start from where it first began, before there was CrossFit gyms in every corner that you go to now. And over time, I developed this love for CrossFit. But with CrossFit, obviously, comes like lifting and Olympic lifting. And I'm not a small human. Like, I'm 5'10", so I'm 178 centimeters, and I've always been a solid being. So I found lifting really easy. Like, it came really easily to me. And so, squatting and deadlifting and stuff was just natural. And then I just loved Olympic lifting. It was like, I just love the skill of it and the technique of it and everything. So over the years, I did a lot of CrossFit comps, got heavily into Olympic lifting, became an Olympic lifting coach as well. And then I kind of realized that, you know what, I'm not a small human, guys. I'm
Yeah.
not going to beat these smaller girls that are, around sort of in my competition and stuff. And so I decided to go down the path more so of lifting. And so I was getting heavily into lifting. And then I actually ended up doing some strongman stuff as well. So I did strongwoman. This is back when I lived in Canberra, and I did some strongwoman comps. But I ended up herniating my L5S1 disc, and put me out of action for about 12 months. I couldn't lift anything, not even a barbell.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely destroyed me. Like, my soul. I was so scared I'd never be able to lift again. And it was like excruciating, like sciatica constantly running down my leg. Like, it was just horrendous. And I kind of made a promise to myself, I'm just going to get really freaking strong. So that's when I got into powerlifting for the first time. That was about 2016, 2017. And I did a couple of powerlifting comps at the time. And then I really loved it. But then I discovered a friend of mine was going to a gym, and there was Olympic lifters there. And then I got into, I thought, I really love this. I just started miss doing Olympic lifting, and I was starting to get stronger, and I wasn't in any pain and stuff. And then got into Olympic lifting. So then I competed in Olympic lifting. So I've sort of gone like one after the other after the other. It's been a case of I found something, I really loved it. I wanted to go into it and go all in. But Olympic lifting was cool because I ended up going to Worlds in 2019 for Masters, and I got second. And then I did Worlds again when we went into COVID in 2020. And then I sort of took some time off, and then, as you do in COVID, you put on some weight because that's what we did in lockdown, right? And then
Yeah.
I got
Wow.
out, I got out, and then found a coach who just wanted to do a body transformation. I wanted to get really lean, really jacked, look the best I could for my 40th birthday, and I ended up getting really good, and I it looked good, and I had a photo shoot, and I looked the best I'd ever looked in my life, and I was loving it. And then little bit by little, he sort of was like, oh, do you want to compete? There's another comp coming up in a couple of months. And like, after I did bodybuilding comp back in 2012, right? And
Yeah.
it was horrendous. I hated it. Absolutely hated it. Like, I looked terrible. I felt horrendous. Like, the one thing that happened with me with bodybuilding, and this is what I say to a lot of women who do bodybuilding or are lifters who want to get into bodybuilding, you have to be so prepared to be able to handle the fact that your body's not going to stay that way forever. And it's also the hardest thing mentally you're ever going to do. And you're going to push against every part of you that you feel like is natural. And if you are not mentally prepared for that, then don't do it. It's just that simple. Like, it will
Yeah.
push you in ways you just won't realize. And the first time I did it, it pushed me in many ways, and emotionally, I just wasn't ready for it. And I hated the idea that I was getting compared to women, not because of my ability, but because of how I looked. And I freaking hated that idea. But the funny thing is, I did it again back in my next comp I did in 2023. So like 11 years, 12 years later. Um, and I loved it. And it wasn't because of how good I looked, because I did look good. I was very happy with my package, but at the same time, I didn't look amazing on stage. I didn't win. I got a bronze place, but at the same time, I loved the idea that I was in control of being able to make my body the best it could possibly be. And that's kind of been the catalyst and how my mindset has shifted from like competition or any type of sport or any kind of training being just about, oh, like I just want to win, I just want to win. It's not about that. It's about being the best that you can be in whatever it is that you choose to do. And that's now where I'm at with everything. So I look at everything like that now. I go, like with bodybuilding, I did well. I did 2023. I felt great. Did my massive bulk, put on a shit ton of weight, went back into a cut again, competed again in 2024, got another bronze in New South Wales for IFBB Pro League in women's physique. And then I went to nationals and I didn't place. And I feel like I was a bit robbed, I'm not going to lie. And it wasn't because anyone else was, like, I was better than anyone else, but I do believe that from a conditioning perspective, I was better than what I got placed. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. It's a subjective sport. It's
Yes.
not
Yeah.
up to me, And then now with powerlifting, now that since, you and I have, or like you saw me compete just a few weeks ago, now with powerlifting, like it has literally become about me being the best I can be and see what my body's actually truly capable of. Like I got out of my comp in 2024 and I started lifting heavy again. And I love lifting heavy. Like I've always, all through my preps, I've lifted heavy. Like training has never been an issue for me. And I love pushing my body to limits like that. And so when I stopped my prep and I started putting on muscle again, and I'd already put on a lot of muscle, but I started, getting that extra size from eating again. I was like, hey, I'm actually kind of strong. What's going on? This is cool. And then one of my friends said to me, he goes, have you thought about doing a comp? I'm like, nah, I'm a bodybuilder now and I'm not going to compete. And he's like, no, you should, like see what you can do. And I thought about it. I was like, you know what? This could be fun. Let's just see what I can lift. And so again, it's always just been about, let's just see what I can do. And then so I did Breakthrough Fitness Comp in May or April last year. And I ended up breaking like 4 or 5 Australian records with that, with APL. And then I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. And I got a really decent total. And then went to nationals and I got another 50 kilos on my total and I got 2 gold medals and broke another 5 records from Australian records. Yeah, so it's been a journey, but yeah, that's my life.
Yeah, see, that's like so crazy. And then, as I said, like when I seen you at that comp earlier this year, I was like, and I started following you, I was like, oh my God, like it's so funny. And like, as I said to you previously, like prior to recording this, is I was like, I competed too. And I was like, I feel like I'm going to take a lot out of this conversation personally, because that feeling that you had in 2012, when I first stepped on the stage at 2011, that's exactly how I felt. Like I was like, this sport is horrible. Like we've all trained very hard and in some way, as you said, it's a subjective sport. And the body dysmorphia that comes afterwards because of what you like said previously, like your body's never going to look that way. But I guess like that mindset that you just spoke about, how it's about doing the best that you can and have done all of these things. How do you just focus on the one? Like, so like, obviously you love pushing your body to the limits, which is where I can understand again, can relate, because I'd like CrossFit because it is that satisfaction that holy shit, I just pushed myself ridiculously hard and I did that. But how do all of these fit in? Like, how do you, now you're powerlifting, but do you still do a bit of CrossFit? Do you still like train bodybuilding style? Like, how did you, because obviously bodybuilding, like powerlifting, sorry, you've absolutely smashed it. So do you just focus on that now, or like how does all of that So I'm sure many people listening will probably be like, do you just ditch one and go to the other? Like,
I don't think you ever really ditch it. Like everyone keeps asking me if I'm going to get back on stage, and I will. It's not a case that I'm not interested in doing like bodybuilding again, because I do train like a bodybuilder still. Like last night I trained in my garage just because I was working late at home, and then it was too late for me to go to the gym, and I was like, oh, you know what, I've got a garage full of gear, I'm just going to train downstairs. So I did a full bench session in my garage, and I did bench as I would as a power lifter, but then all my accessories, it's all bodybuilding stuff. Like this is the thing, I think a lot of powerlifters and also Olympic lifters, like I've always been a big girl. Like I've always been solid, right? And I've had a decent amount of muscle. I've got very thick bones. Like I'm very genetically blessed in that sense. So I've always been naturally strong. But I never really tapped into my strength because I didn't have a huge amount of muscle. When I did bodybuilding, though, that muscle grew very quickly because it was targeted at that type of hypertrophy training. I never really targeted in CrossFit, particularly. Like CrossFit doesn't target isolation exercises. It doesn't target the body as a physique to mold and shape. It's about how much you can do, like what is your capacity for the actual activity that you're doing. And so same thing with high rocks, exactly the same, right?
yeah,
You'll get carryover from high rocks in terms of cardiovascular fitness, and yeah, you'll probably lose some kilos, lose some weight and things like that, but are you changing your physique
no,
significantly? No,
yeah,
you're
yeah,
not. And it's the same with powerlifting and ollie lifting. Like you don't have a physique of a lifter unless you train like a bodybuilder, because a lifter needs to have isolation work. Like I do leg extensions, leg curls, bicep curls. Like I do all of that stuff that I did as a bodybuilder, and I do it all as part of my powerlifting training. So like I'll see people literally do a few sets of squats and a few sets of like maybe some lunges or some RDLs or some leg extensions or something, and then that's it, they're out. I do literally like my sets, I do a shit ton of volume. Like I'm the
yeah,
volume queen, but I think that that's come from my background in CrossFit. My body's so used to high volume, and as women can handle more volume than what men can anyway. But like I've tried training like a powerlifter. So powerlifters notoriously will do, you know, top set and then drop down sets, right?
yeah,
Um, I'm not that girl. I can't do it. My body actually gets weaker doing that. So I have to do more volume and linearly progress week on week on week, or even set on set on set, to actually get any actual gains in strength. That's how I have to train. My
yeah,
body's just molded that way. So um, to answer your question, like I still dabble and throw in Ollie stuff. Like I still coach Ollie. I've got a CrossFit gym that I work at and I do classes at, and I still coach Ollie. It's one of the most popular classes of the entire gym. Like I can get 20 odd people in that class on a Saturday morning.
yeah, yeah.
And then
Wow.
and I still do, like my mobility, I'm not gonna lie, my mobility is pretty shit thanks to powerlifting at the moment. But my shoulders have grown significantly and I've lost a lot of mobility in my wrists. So cleans are not exactly my friend, but like I can snatch, I can power snatch. I power snatch more now than I did when I was power snatching, but like when I was doing Ollie before. So I still
Yeah,
throw in, I still throw in HIIT workout. Like, so I'll throw in my high intensity training and stuff. I did a high intensity interval thing on the bike last night. I still throw in my bodybuilding stuff. I still throw in my Ollie stuff. So whilst, yes, I'm specializing in powerlifting, I'm in my off season. Like I'm in my build season / volume season at the moment, where I'm just trying to get my body to get as much gains as possible and just keep that volume up. So I'm doing everything. There's nothing I'm holding back on, and you don't have to. Like,
yeah,
if you are someone who does high rocks, but you love CrossFit or you love powerlifting and you love running and stuff, then you can absolutely incorporate all that. You don't have to pick one. What would happen, and if I was to coach anyone who's in that state, it would be a case of going, okay, you want to do it all, you can absolutely do it all. But when it comes time to getting closer to comp, that's when we need to sort of dial it in specifically to the goal of that comp. But like when I was getting ready for my show, my comp in 2023 show for bodybuilding, I was getting ready because I wanted to do a photo shoot. So that was the first thing that I wanted to do in February. So I wanted to get as lean and as jacked as humanly possible for my birthday in February of 2023. However, in the November beforehand, so 3 months before, 2 months, 3, 2, three,
Yeah.
I can't count.
Yeah.
Don't mind me. Was a comp, which was a hybrid sort of CrossFit slash Ollie lifting slash strongman comp. And it used to be run by a guy who had a gym in Blacktown. It was called Shred Fitness, and he used to call it Strength Wars. You may have heard about it. Like heaps of strength community have heard about it in Sydney. It doesn't run anymore. He's shut the gym down now, sadly. But I did Strength Wars. I partnered up with a friend, and I did Strength Wars in the November, and I was jacked. Like I had a pretty significant physique. I have been training bodybuilding the entire time with some Ollie lifting in there, and the bodybuilding still incorporated squats, deadlifts, lunges, all of the things.
Yeah.
But then I also did a shit ton of Ollie, and I was trying to build up my clean, and because I knew one of the events was cleans. And then I also was dragging a freaking sled around
Yeah.
like in the actual comp. So, but that was all bodybuilding training. So, and then after that, we went a little bit more dialed into bodybuilding specific to then get me lean as hell for my photo shoot. And then that dialed it even more, like food wise and stuff as well, to get me on stage, 3 months later. But yeah, like being a specialist, you can be a specialist but still dabble in other stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. So
Yeah,
yeah.
which I find, like, again, like as I said to you personally before recording, is like I feel like, I guess a lot of people think, oh, I want to do this, so then that's what I've just got to do. And I feel like even me being a coach myself, and it's like I do, like, I guess what you could say almost polar opposites, like
Mm,
strength and then endurance, like,
yeah.
but even sometimes I feel pull and tug. And I guess everybody listening, I feel like a huge takeaway from that is that, yes, you can do it all, but when it comes time to crunch, you dial one back and dial one up.
Yeah.
And doesn't have to be one or the other. Um,
Well,
yeah,
to be
wow.
honest, also, like, sorry, just to cut you off quickly, but
No,
like
that's
with
perfect.
with lifters, and this is one thing that a lot of lifters don't realize, being like particularly power lifters, right? And even I'm holding on to a bit of extra body fat that I'm like, yeah, I'm not really comfortable, which is why I'm throwing in some more hit sessions now. And
Yeah,
it's not because of like I'm not scared that that's going to affect my performance, because the better your body functions by doing things that incorporate cardiovascular, right? And
yeah,
doing stuff that's actually going to increase your energy production and your mitochondria and all that kind of stuff. Like you need to do, as a powerlifter, you need to do cardio. Powerlifters who don't do cardio, that's a big concern, because from a health perspective, putting a lot of pressure and a lot of intensity on the heart, if the heart's not strong enough due to the fact that you're not doing cardio, then that's when shit goes wrong. That's when you start
yeah,
having issues. And like, I'm not small. Like, to give you some context, I'm 112 kilos. Like, this is the biggest I've ever been in my life. I'm a big human. But the thing is that my cardio, I can still like deal with putting myself through some pretty high intensity stuff and not feel like I'm going to die. And that's just
yeah,
because my cardiovascular is healthy. Like, you need to, like, as a lifter, you need to be able to have the best possible ability to handle oxygen coming in and out of the body and the intensity on the body, for the big lifts. Like, you
yeah,
don't just stop doing that altogether. And I think that that's a big misconception in the strength community. Like, you look at strongmen, they're huge people, right? But
yeah,
Jesus Christ, do they like push themselves physically in terms of cardiovascularly? Like, they're doing crazy shit. Like, it's just, and I think powerlifters have a notorious thing where it's like, oh, I'm a powerlifter now. I can eat what I want, do what I want, no cardio, life's good. But it's like,
yeah,
it
yeah.
doesn't work like that. So, if anything, Ash, like you're probably going to find that for you, even though like, and as a coach as well, and I get the like, oh God, am I this, am I that? I don't know which way I am, like that identity factor.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
huge.
it's like you're actually doing exactly the right thing. Yes, maybe endurance might be pushing maybe not be allowing you to get absolute strength gains that you could, but it's not hindering your ability to continue to build that, right? Like
Yes,
it might just
yeah,
take you a little bit longer. That's all,
yeah.
you know? So,
No, which I feel like that's going to be a huge takeaway for anybody listening, because I feel like even hearing that come from you, that has like, and as I said before starting this podcast, like all of these things, like linking them all together, even in just what you've said so far, it all makes logical sense. And I feel like a lot of people can take away from that, even just the scientific stuff that you put in a way that people can understand, that you still
mm,
need to do that cardio, and you'll still get strong, but it just take
Mm.
longer. Like it's not going to like, and I feel like even, like I've been in the industry 15 years now, and I feel like even just that one sentence from you then is just like a light bulb moment. It's like, well, it
Well,
just
I'm glad.
well, it just makes sense, like, right? Because, like, as I said, when I reached out to have this podcast, I was like, I feel like people need to hear this story because people would look at that and go, "Wow!" Like one extreme from the next. But really,
Mm.
the way you've just explained it all and how it sort of all comes about, it all makes logical sense. And
Yeah,
yeah, I feel like it's a huge takeaway for a lot of people in terms of going, just because you like one or you want to be good at one doesn't mean you need to stop doing something else that you enjoy as well.
100%. 100%. And
Yeah.
for me, I'm all about seeing women and men, but women, but just humans in general, being the best that they can be. And if that means, like, from your perspective, if your heart is like, if you want to run in a high rocks competition and you want to do 1,000 wall balls and do all that kind of stuff, then have at it. Like, go for it. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Like, back when
Yeah.
I was CrossFitting and I was doing like a lot of CrossFit like training, I was training for 4 or 5 hours a day, sometimes like 2 separate sessions a day. Plus on the weekends, I was running 10Ks on a Sunday and I was doing 2.5Ks of swimming. Like it was like I was a freaking triathlon, like a triathlete. It was insane. Like the amount of work and effort and capacity that my body was being pushed to was insane. But my body handled it. It does, and it adapts, and that's the thing. So you whatever it is that you want to do, as long as you're getting recovery, as long as you're doing the things to recover your body and you're doing, what you need to, you're eating enough, you're sleeping enough, you're doing your recovery practices, there is no reason why you can't do what you want to do. Really, there's not. It doesn't, it's, I don't like pigeonholing anyone. Like I've chosen to get as big as I have because I have a goal in my mind of where I want to go with what I want to do, and I will do whatever it takes to get there. But that's my mentality. And I know that's
Yeah.
not everyone's, and that's cool. That's perfectly fine. But that's mine. So I'm not telling people to do what I'm doing. I'm not saying to go out there and put on, like, put it this way, on stage in 2024, I was 75 kilos on stage. I'm now 112 kilos. So
Yeah.
I put
Wow.
on a significant amount of weight and size, but it's all for a purpose. And I know that there are girls out there who are a lot leaner than I am who are powerlifters. But for me, my body is responding and I just keep on building and getting bigger.
Yeah.
Like even last year, I competed at 107 and I thought, okay, I'll stay under 110. That's fine. That's fine. And my body just keeps growing and I'm not mad about it. And so I'm just enjoying the process and saying, okay, well, shit, let's just see where this goes. Let's see how
Yeah.
far I can take this.
That's
So,
that's amazing. And I feel like on that tangent, like the mindset thing, I feel like there's so many lessons, like in terms of like women, especially because a lot of women do listen to these podcasts, is going from that. And obviously you did touch on that earlier with the bodybuilding and how you said, like, I guess if you're not ready to accept that that's not how your body's going to look all the time, not to do it.
mm,
And I actually trained one fitness model, and they were my exact words when she said that she wanted to step on stage. I was like, look, I was like, the one thing no one told me, and I had to learn the hard way, is what you're going to feel like after, because you're going to be in the best
mm,
condition ever for one day,
yeah.
and then it's not always going to stay that way. How mindset wise have you coped? Because I feel like a lot of women put a lot of pressure on themselves, like they want to be, as like we use the powerlifting, strong, but yet they don't want to change. They're so scared of their body changing and how they look and how they feel. Like, I guess I know that's not being very direct, but I feel like it kind of makes sense in my mind. Like, how do you deal with that mindset side of things? Like going from 75 kilos stage weight to where you are now, and you're confident, you're content, you have a purpose. But I feel like a
Mm,
lot of women struggle with that. Like that.
100%. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
it's society. Like the thing is, people, the second that, I mean, and you know this yourself, right? The second that you start to feel a little bit of extra sort of pudge or a little bit of an extra roll going on, or like your butt's getting bigger. I mean, most women don't mind their butt getting bigger, let's be real.
Yeah,
Or
that's true.
like that's pretty standard these days. But yeah, like things like that, they start to freak. Now, what happened with me my first bodybuilding comp, I'm not gonna lie, I've never had an eating disorder, but I've never had a really great relationship with food. I wouldn't say I was a binge eater, but I would absolutely, when I had the opportunity to eat shit, like I would. And I would be like, I'd pile it down. Like my ex and I years and years and years ago, um, on a cheat night, so to speak, we'd have we'd have these stupid cheat nights where food would just be freaking out of control. But the funny thing was, we'd eat all the shit food after eating so clean for the whole week, and then we'd have these huge fights because of what it did to our hormones as a result. Like it was just an absolute mess. And so over the years, I got to a point where, with my food intake, I sort of like I like structure. I've realized that now. I never used to when I was younger. I was like, the free sort of fly by the seat of my pants kind of girl. But
Yeah.
now, very much structure works for me, and I actually like it because I know what my body can handle and what it doesn't like. And I've now got to a point where if I put something in my body that it doesn't like or it makes me feel bad, it will tell me straight away, like digestive wise, energy wise, recovery, breakouts, whatever it will be, right? And the
Yeah.
thing was, after my comp in 2023, it was funny because the comp was in April. So it was in,
Yeah.
it was
Easter.
around Easter. Yeah, exactly. So guess what I did? Every single time I went and bought my freaking chicken and my rice and my broccoli, whatever the hell I was eating at the time, and I saw a packet of Easter eggs sitting there, I'd buy the packet of Easter eggs and I would stash them and I stashed them. And I'm not shitting you, but those old, you remember the plastic Woolies bags that you get?
Yeah.
Yep. Had an entire one of them stashed full of chocolate in my cupboard, waiting for me the night that I finished my comp. And I live on my own. Well, my brother lives with me at the moment, but at that time I was living on my own. And I remember coming in for my comp, and I'd gone out to sushi with a friend of mine for dinner. And I came back in, I sat down and I looked at that bag and I was like, yeah, I'll have a little bit, it's fine. And then I had that little bit of chocolate. And then what happened was, as is the case with comps, that night I didn't have that much, it was fine. But over the next month, I smashed that entire bag, the entire bag. So I
When
put on a lot of body fat quite quickly. Like I did. I put on too much fat too fast and I lost control. And I truly did. I didn't have a good relationship with food and I was just eating because one, my hormone signals were all over the place. But two, I just didn't have that mental capacity or control. The second time I competed though, I didn't put on the weight anywhere near as quickly. So when I got off stage at Nationals, I was in Melbourne. Now, overnight, I put on 5 kilos, but that's because I'm not a small human and basically it was all water weight anyway.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so dehydrated when you're on stage.
100%. So, yeah, like, and because that's the thing, like, being 75 kilos, like, most girls on stage aren't 75 kilos. Most girls are 50 kilos. But because of my height and my size, 75 was pretty much where we were at. And I was probably sitting at around, we don't know for sure, but I'm guessing around 10%-ish body fat. So I was very, very, very lean. And so I put on, 5 kilos overnight and I wasn't worried. It was fine. And over the course of the next 3 months, I only put on about another 7 kilos. So I was actually really happy with the way my body was sitting because I was still well and truly under 9 kilos. And I've been sitting at 90 kilos consistently throughout my entire prep, pretty much up until the last sort of 8 weeks or so when shit just started taking off. Um, Now, what happened was I started realizing that food, I mean, I've always known this, but the food I was eating, I was keeping it really clean. And it was because that was made me feel good. It wasn't about eating just because it tasted good. It was what I enjoyed eating, but I knew it also made me feel good because I didn't struggle to digest it. It wasn't affecting my stomach in any way. And so the way that I've sort of changed things now is that, yes, I'm the biggest I've ever been, but I'm the strongest I've ever been. And the funniest thing is, nothing about my physique, like I know from a physique perspective, like you probably saw me as that, holy shit, she's a monster. Like I'm not small. Like I walked into a room with a bunch of friends of mine who I hadn't seen for about a year. I was at the NABA Expo and one of my friends, I speak to her on Instagram all the time, but then I saw another woman that I actually competed with. She was on stage with me in 2024 and she looked at me, she's like, holy shit, you're a fucking monster.
Yeah.
Because my shoulders are literally bigger than most guys. Like I am very broad and I'm okay with it because I know what it means. I know that that size, that shape that I'm in right now is delivering a result of what I want.
Yeah.
And from a perspective of being uncomfortable, is it uncomfortable? Hell yes. It is so uncomfortable. Like I can't scratch my back half the time. Like I can't put my hand behind my back to scratch it half the time. I can't, like, sometimes getting my freaking crop tops on, like my sports bras on, is an absolute struggle. Like it's horrendous. I'm wearing double XL t-shirts that are men's sizes and they're literally just like fitting my shoulders. It is ridiculous. But it's all for a purpose from my perspective. And
Yeah.
if people can take away the emotion of needing to have something and connect it instead to their why, that's what it becomes. It doesn't matter how you look. It doesn't matter how you feel. Like, yes, how you feel in your clothes is important, but you can always buy bigger clothes. Do you have to wear that size clothes for now? If you're going into a bulk and
Yeah.
your purpose is to put on muscle, then with that comes the fact that yes, there's going to be, you got to accept there's consequences and a journey and a lesson to everything. And so you make a choice. You want to bulk, you want to build, you want to put some muscle on. Guess what? You're going to get bigger. It has to happen. You got no
Yeah.
choice. And you have to embrace that process. Otherwise, it is exhausting and emotionally completely debilitating. Like,
Yeah, and that's I feel like what I've found with like a lot of women, even over the years that I've trained, and even myself, like 2011, like I feel like competing the body dysmorphia, and even now it's like I know, I feel like a lot of women are out there like they want to get stronger, but yet they want to
yeah.
lose weight because they want to be this certain size, and I feel like, yeah, hearing that from you, like connecting your why and your purpose, because I feel like the world, obviously, comparison is such a thief of joy, and people compare themselves, and social media and all of this fucking shit that fucks up people's
Mm,
heads. And I feel like
mm,
women need to hear that like if your purpose, it doesn't matter. And I feel
yeah.
like, the confidence is what people see. Well, that's what I see when I see, especially being in the sport of CrossFit, like so many different shapes or sizes, and you
Yeah.
admire their what they're doing. Same with
Yeah.
powerlifting. Like
Yeah.
I still remember my kids when you done that last deadlift in the on the comp on March. They went out and my little one tried to lift it, and they was talking about that on the car home, and I was like,
Oh, that's
but
cute.
like. Like those sorts of sports are never judging on your body size, but I feel like society has really fucked up women's heads in terms of, like, I know I still struggle daily, like, oh, I shouldn't have that. And then, like, as you said, like the cheat mentality, oh, well, I'm going to
Yeah.
eat all of it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so, like,
Absolutely.
how do you go from, I feel like, from going from a bulk to a cut and then bulk again, like, all these
Mm.
different paths, like, how does your, like, mindset, like, just flick like that?
I'm a bit weird, I'm not gonna lie. Once I lock in to a purpose of what I want, like I'm very driven and I don't know where it's come from. Don't ask me, I have no clue. But like once I lock into a purpose of what I want and what I want in my life and where I want to go in my life, then I'm sort of locked in. So the same thing happened with comp. Like I didn't, ever have a desire to ever quit. Like when I was competing in 2012, I've 100%. And the times leading up to that, when I wanted to compete and I just never did, I kept on questioning and second guessing myself because I just didn't trust myself. I didn't believe that I was capable, and I didn't want to be I didn't want to be like ridiculed. I didn't want to be looked at like stupid, right?
Yeah.
And then even when I competed in 2012, I looked like a potato. Like I looked terrible. I did a I did a comp with a coach who was in America. Never met the guy before in my life, but because he was a CrossFit coach who'd worked with all of these CrossFitters, he put me. I thought he'd be the perfect coach for me. But the funniest thing was, it was all keto. So get this, I did keto, it was a paleo
Oh,
keto,
wow. Far
plus,
out.
plus, 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 wait for it, intermittent fasting every single day with a 24-hour fast once a week. So I did 16-hour fasts every day with a 24-hour fast once a week. And I didn't do any isolation work other than some bicep curls and maybe some shoulder press here and there. Like it was not
Whoa.
yeah, it was not bodybuilding coaching. And I was a little bit naive, well, a little bit, a lot of it, but I was I was like, I'm just gonna trust this guy. And I put all my trust into him. And I look like a freaking soft, bloody wet rag. Like I mean, yes, I lost a shit ton of weight. Of course, you're going to if you're intermittent fasting eating no carbs, like, of course you're going to lose weight. But did I look like a bodybuilder? Absolutely not. Not a chance. So the
Oh,
thing is, like, and over my years, and I'm 43 now, so I'm getting on in the old age, and so I've sort of learned over the years that, like, at the end of the day, the main thing that matters is what it is that I want to achieve. And if I've got a goal and a desire to hit a goal in some way, shape, or form, then I'm locked in. Like, it does not matter what happens, and I'll have my wobbly moments and stuff, but absolutely for me, it's like I dial in. So again, it's always got to come back to the why. Like, and I say this to my clients and stuff as well. Like, if you do not have a strong enough why on what you want to do, like for a competition, particularly bodybuilding, like if you don't know exactly why it is you're doing it, then you won't do a comp. You won't get through it. And you said that obviously as well to your, I'm guessing to your
yeah,
fit model.
yeah,
Like, you have to
exactly.
know why
Yeah,
you're doing this. If you're doing it just to lose weight and look hot on stage, that's not a big enough why.
no,
Because you can lose weight and go and do a freaking photo shoot. You don't have to stand there in bikini and pose and stick your ass out for the world to see. Like, I mean, you can if you want to, but you don't
you
have to
have
go to that
to.
extreme, right? And go
Yeah,
through the dehydration and all the shit that comes along with it. You can do something different. You don't have to. So why is it you need to stand up on stage and demonstrate to the world that that's what you look like at that moment in time? There's got to be something behind that. And if you don't know what that is, then don't compete. And you
yeah.
can't you can't connect a good enough, strong enough desire to do it if you don't have a strong enough why. It's just that simple.
Yeah. And that, like, I feel like that relates to, like, because obviously, as a coach yourself, like a lot of the general public that just want to have a healthier relationship with food that, may have suffered, binge
Mm,
eating or eating disorders and things like that. I feel like the pressure that they place on themselves and that mindset of the binge, restrict, repeat, basically,
mm,
and never get that healthy sort of relationship with your whole history and so much wealth of knowledge. What advice would you give to those people? Like, if their wise just to become healthier, yet they're, restrict, cheat, restrict,
mm.
cheat. And I, like, when I say that, I think back to bodybuilding days, because yeah, you were allowed a cheat day, and I was like, fuck that word, like, just
Yeah,
makes my eye
yeah.
twitch, because I was like, that in itself, I'm like, a cheat day, like, fuck. But
Why are you cheating? Who? And
yeah,
that and
yeah,
that's
like, it's just
exactly that's it.
the
That's it.
food's
That and
food.
I Yeah. And why do you need to cheat on anything? Are you cheating on the diet? Or are you cheating on yourself? Because if you
Yeah,
feel like you need that, like if you, and that's the thing with bodybuilding, it's like, oh yeah, let's have a cheat day. And I love the fact you said it gave you an eye twitch because it's so true. Like, what part of like the mentality of us saying, oh yeah, I'm going to give you a cheat day? Are you cheating on your diet? Then why are you cheating on your diet? Because the automatic assumption from a mentality perspective and that mindset is that you are doing something that you shouldn't be doing. That's literally what it means. So
yes,
if you're dieting and then you're like, oh, but I've got a cheat day, well, mate, you're doing something that you already know you shouldn't do. And so you're going to connect the fact that you're not doing what you should be doing. So you don't trust yourself then. You're not giving yourself trust internally on what you should do. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. No, that makes like total sense, and I feel like that's another huge takeaway from our conversation today, because a lot of people that just generally want to eat better or have a better relationship with food, it's like, I guess it's that mentality of saying, what you should and shouldn't do. Like,
Mm,
realistically, food's food. Like, one's going to give you nourishment and nutrients, and one's not so much. Like, doesn't
exactly.
mean, yeah, doesn't mean you
Well,
can't
yeah,
have a little bit
because
of it.
100%. Like because I didn't mention this before, but I also teach. So I work full time for TAFE, and I actually teach Certificate 3 in fitness. Sorry, Certificate 3 and 4 in fitness. I'm the coordinator for Cert 4 in the campus that I work at, and I have students who I teach this stuff to. So I teach PTs how to be PTs basically, and so when we talk about nutrition, we talk about anything like that. Like the thing is, it's so important for people to understand that food is food. There is no good, there is no bad. And I think we've had such a hardcore mentality placed around food because everyone looks at, chocolate as bad or ice cream as bad. It's not bad. It's just calorie dense, highly palatable, makes you want to eat a shit ton of it. Like that's what
Yeah.
it does. And it's designed that way for a reason. And so, and I can go into freaking hours of this discussion because
Yeah.
nutrition's like my jam as well. I love talking all things nutrition. But like, and this is the thing, like we are so consumed with this concept that I want to have healthy, like, for the women and the men out there who want to eat healthily, but they don't even know what healthy is anymore, because what they're told is healthy is only, only eating only chicken and rice and veggies
Yep.
and fruit. And yes, that is healthy. There's no question. But healthy also means allowing yourself to live, allowing yourself to be, eat as you feel, as you want to, and then not beating yourself up after doing that. Like, if you want to eat a freaking cookie, then eat a cookie. Like, if your body is desiring that cookie so badly, then eat the cookie. Like,
Yeah.
I very rarely get cravings these days, but that's because I'm eating enough food. My body does not need anything else. I don't have
Yeah.
sugar cravings. I don't have hardcore, like, I'll have chocolate here and there every now and then. And guess what? That chocolate tastes really freaking sweet. And I'm like, ugh, why did I have that? Like, I just don't enjoy it as much as I used to. And I don't need it as much as I used to. Whereas people are very attached. They attach their emotion and the feeling of what they get when they eat that food, and the endorphins and the dopamine and all the things. But at the end of the day, it's just food. And it has an effect on our hormones. It has an effect on our body. But like, you've got to look at it from perspective of like, there is no good or bad here. This is choice. And you decide, if you make a choice, there's going to be consequences one way or another. And you then have to deal with, okay, if I've now eaten an entire stack of pancakes, let's say, right? And I've smashed it with a shit ton of ice cream, and then, some like a hot chocolate with it or whatever. Cool. All right. That's great. So you've eaten that. Now, how do you feel after eating that? So they might feel good for 10 minutes because they'll have energy and they'll feel warm and fuzzy and great. But guess what? In about a half an hour, they're going to feel like absolute dog shit.
Yeah.
And that's the
100%.
thing. That's the thing people forget. They forget how it makes them feel. They're more attached to how it makes them feel in the moment rather than how the body's actually responding to it in that sort of way. And
Yeah.
then we're sort of like, I'm getting sort of off track here, but it's really a case of like, if you don't look at food as good or bad, and you just eat the food based on how you want to eat it because you feel like something in that moment, like, then eat it, because it's better than restricting yourself. And as soon as we start restricting and telling ourselves that we can't eat this, we can't do that, then that's when things fall apart. Like, becoming negative in the mindset around what it is that you want to do, that's when things go wrong. But if you say you can do something and I'm just going to have it just because I want to eat it, and eat the cookie, eat the chocolate,
Yeah.
eat whatever you want to eat. That's my mentality anyway. That's what I try to instill in my clients and my
No.
students as well.
Well, I was
So,
gonna say, like, I think that is like, again, like, there's so much good information, and I can't wait to share this with everybody, because that is so true. And I've always said that, and even being someone myself that struggled with body dysmorphia from competing, because it was, you're not allowed it. And back in
mm,
2011, even 2012, I feel like that time bodybuilding was the jam, was the thing. Like,
yeah,
everybody wanted to do it. You had your sports models that, I still envy them, that they look like they just walked off the beach and stepped on stage. And
yeah.
then, like, all that sort of thing. And it was like cheat days, and you're not allowed this and you're not allowed that. And, you know, building myself up over the last 15 years to try to have a better relationship, I feel like you nailed it in
Mm,
a nutshell. It's like,
thank you.
having that ability to even just say you're allowed it, like, it changes your need to want it.
100%. As soon as you take away, like, there was a thing I saw ages ago on TikTok, and I don't watch, let's be real, I don't use TikTok that much, but I remember seeing it. And there was an experiment that this woman did, and it was like this chocolate experiment. And it was basically, if you have at all times 3 or 5 blocks of chocolate in your house, at all times, no matter what. So even if you eat like a
Wow.
row of one, right? Then you make sure that you, as soon as that block is gone, you buy another block. And what happens is it stops you from needing it as much because it's there. It's not a scarcity mentality. You don't have that desire for something that you need because it's not there. Like, that was one thing that actually, I remember when I was competing, I gave myself a little bit of a mantra or a thought process that used to kick into my head. So at times I got into a habit where I was eating a lot of protein bars at one point. I just enjoyed, I don't know, that was my thing. I liked having musashi bars, and I was eating them when I was in my bulk and stuff. And then I like the crispy ones. Don't ask me why. They
Yeah.
were my thing. And I got into a habit where I go like to the service station, and I put petrol in the car or whatever, and then I'd go inside and I'd get in this habit of like, oh, I've got a snack, yeah, I'll go for a protein bar, cool. Sometimes I'd grab a chocolate bar too, like, I'm not gonna lie, just what I used to have. Anyway, and then I remember when I was doing my prep, I went to do it and I said to myself, okay, hang on, is that chocolate gonna be there tomorrow? Yeah. Do I need it right now? No. And that was the honest truth. Like, my brain
Yeah.
told me in that moment, is it going to be like, it was that whole concept of like, I need it now. And it's like, you got to hoard it. You got to have all this stuff. You got to like smash it and like keep it for yourself, right? But the chocolate is literally going to be there tomorrow. If you don't have it today, that's cool, because it's going to be there tomorrow. You could have it tomorrow, and you don't have to have it tomorrow because it's going to be there the next day. And then that
Yeah.
switches the mentality. And I did that. I remember doing that where I was like, huh, interesting. And it made sense why that TikTok thing worked, because I was like, because it's there, you don't need it or want it as much, because there's
Yes.
always a surplus there, right? So yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Mm.
That's so crazy. You're like so knowledgeable. And then that brings me to asking, like, after all of these sales, uni, all of these sports, and teaching Cert 3 and 4 in fitness, how the hell did that come into this whole last 18 years? Like,
Um,
that is just like next level, from being in an office environment, gyms, competing, all this stuff, but now you're teaching it.
Yeah, so it was actually really interesting. I remember doing my course. So I did my course with the Australian Institute of Fitness, so the AIF. And I did that when I was working full time. So I did it working full time in Sydney, and then every Monday night, Wednesday night, and all day on a Sunday for 16 weeks. It was one of those courses that, was completed
Yeah.
fast in a private institute. And I just remember like looking at the teacher, and I just had this thought process that I vividly remember it to this day. And I was like, I'd love to do that one day and just stand up there and teach people. Like, it was the weirdest thing. I still remember to this day that having that thought process of seeing the teacher teaching us about whatever it was, like exercise science principles or whatever. Anyway, and that was it. This was, like I said, 20 odd years ago. And what happened was, around COVID or just before, I had a friend I had a friend that was working with me in the gym that I was working at in Sydney. So to give you an idea, I've worked in about 22 gyms now in my career, combined with CrossFit gyms, strength gyms, various, like some global gyms. Like, I've worked at Fitness First, and I've ran gyms, I've managed gyms, I've opened up CrossFit Aladella. Done lots of different sort of experience in different
Wow.
gyms and stuff. So I was working in a gym in Parramatta, and I had a friend who was working there with me. She was a massage therapist, and we became really close. We still are to this day. And she left there, and then she started working for this company, which was AIF, the Australian Institute of Fitness. And she told me one day, she says, oh, look, they're looking for teachers. Are you interested? I said, oh, I don't know if I could handle the time, blah, blah, blah. And at the time, they only wanted like casual or like part-time. So I was like, all right, I'll look into it. And I did an interview, and straight away they loved me. And this was just before we went into lockdown in 2020. Yeah, 2020. And so I did the interview, and then I came in and met them and stuff. And then, we were basically, we got the job straight away. And so I've worked at now um, four different RTOs. One was a private RTO that was built into another company where I taught like first aid. But
Yeah.
I've become a teacher. So I've worked for AIF, Fit College, and now I'm working at TAFE. So
Yeah. Wow.
so it's just, I guess, part of the reason I just really love, like, and I mean, you can respect this obviously as a trainer and a coach and stuff as well. Like, I love when I'm coaching CrossFit particularly. There's something about it. I get in a zone. I just really start to, kind of similar to, I guess, how I'm talking today. I start talking and I just go, bleh, and all this stuff just comes out. And I just love seeing people do something that they weren't capable of doing. So, like someone doing their first pull up for the first time, or deadlift for the first time, or teaching them something they didn't know. And so it's kind of morphed into, and I still obviously work as a PT. I've got an online business as well. Like I do all that kind of stuff. But then this has morphed now into, now I'm teaching full time, and I'm developing and helping now. In my eyes, I feel like I'm helping bring really high quality PTs into the industry, because I'm so concerned about the state of the industry based on the fact that there's so many bad PTs out there, like
Oh,
so
yeah.
many.
Yeah.
So
100%.
it's painful, and so I love being a part of that opportunity. And there's always like, it was funny because I swore to myself black and blue around COVID that I would never work for another person again. Like I was like, no, never, not working for another company ever again. It's never going to happen. And here we are 6 years later. But yeah, I really do love what I do. Like I love teaching, I love mentoring, I love really helping develop people. And then I use those skills of what I've learned as a coach and a PT throughout the years into like to teach and to share my knowledge with others. So yeah, that's
Yeah,
kind of where it's
that's
gone to.
amazing. So I guess to put it in a nutshell, like in the last 18 years, what are the top 3 things that you have learnt, I guess, to finish off today's conversation? Because I feel like we could talk for
We
hours.
could
Like
talk for
everything,
hours.
yeah,
We could.
literally. Like, what's the top 3 things that you have learned in the fitness industry in the last 18 years?
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm, I'm,
That's a
I'm a
hard,
hard one.
you're putting me on the spot here. Okay. So in terms of from a personal perspective, the biggest thing I've learned is, in order to get whatever result that you want, whether it be strength, whether it be whether it be cardio, whether it be weight loss, whatever it may be, like motivation is shit at the end of the day.
Yeah,
If you are not consistent and if you are not disciplined in your activity and what you do, and your relentlessness, like that's the thing. I'm very relentless. I'm like a dog with a bone. Once I get into doing something, I'm in, like I'm full on. And I can see you're very much the same way.
yeah.
As if you and I think people, like, to give you an idea, as a teacher, when people become a PT, the life cycle of a PT is about 3 months now, literally.
Well, it was like probably about 5 years when I studied in 2010.
I know.
Yeah. 3
It's,
months.
yeah, it's 3 months now. 3 months on
Mm.
average. Up, like it can be even around 6 months, but 6 months is the average now. It's like 3 months is the life cycle average. 6 months is like a nicer sort of upper limit. But yeah, very rare to find people in the industry as long as you and I have been. 100%.
Wow.
Yeah, super, super rare
So,
now.
yeah,
And women
motivation.
as well.
Yeah.
Yes, and women as well. So the thing is, discipline and consistency is the key to anything in life, no matter whether it be, business or training or whatever. Like, this is the one thing I've noticed, because you absolutely can be injured, right, and be falling off the wagon, or you could get sick, or you go on a holiday or whatever and lose all momentum completely. But all you need to do is bring that momentum back up again. I
Yeah.
often don't have motivation or desire to get my ass in that gym. I love training with every part of me, but we are inherently lazy people, lazy creatures
Yeah.
as humans. And so motivation means shit. And everyone's always like, I'm not motivated to do it anymore. It's like, no, neither am I.
Yeah.
Get your ass up, do the work. like,
Yeah.
like, and that's the thing. Make your why, and that's probably the other thing. Make your why bigger than your excuses.
Yeah.
That is
Such a good
another thing.
takeaway.
Yeah, that's a really big one, because I have had many clients over the years who tell me they've got these whys, tell me they've got these reasons to do things, but the amount of bullshit excuses and the stories that they tell themselves and that they start to believe because they continue to tell themselves again and again and again and again. And ultimately it just turns into a situation where it all falls apart. Whatever they're trying to do falls apart. So definitely those two, like motivation is bullshit, and make your why bigger than your excuses.
Yeah.
In terms of training per se, like, don't let anyone tell you what you can't do.
Yes, I
You
love
do
that.
whatever. Yeah, you do whatever the fuck you want to do. Excuse my language. I don't know if you're
No,
gonna.
I swear a lot.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'm an F-bomb girl. But just do whatever the fuck you want to do. Like, people don't have a right to tell you how you look, how you train, what you want to do. Like, trust yourself enough that you know exactly what you want, and just go and do it. Don't let people tell you what to do. Don't even let your coach tell you what to do. The coach should not, under any circumstances, and this pisses me right off with coaches, tell their clients what they have to do. The client needs to know what they want to do, and the coach then gives them direction, support around helping them get to that
Yeah.
ultimate level of achievement. That's it. Like, we are not here to tell anyone what to do. I won't. Like, I'm done. I've been in this industry long enough now that I'm so done with trying to convince people to work with me. If they want to work with me, I'm all open. I'm all here. I'm 100% ready to go. But if they don't, and I have to convince them, oh, piss off. Go find someone
Yeah.
else. I'm too old for this shit, and I'm also too busy. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's kind
No,
of my main ones, I would say. So
that is huge. I honestly, I'm so excited to pop this out, and I feel like I was making notes as we go so like I can do the outro, and I was like, holy fuck, the outro is going to probably be as long as this because I'm like this takeaway and this one. But thank
thank
you
you.
so much for like
That's all
obviously
good.
taking me up on this opportunity. I feel like I've even learned a lot. So can't wait to share this with other people.
I so appreciate it. Thank you so much. It's been absolute honor, and I'm so. I literally was baffled that you messaged me, because I'm not someone who's very. I mean, I'm obviously not someone you can miss, but I'm also not someone who's super showy. So I don't. I don't really. Except I've never met you before, obviously before either. So it just, it was really lovely to have you reach out the way you did, and to acknowledge, that you saw me and that you wanted to know more about me. So I really appreciate that. Thank you so
No,
much.
thank you for coming. And that's a wrap of today's episode. Probably one of my longest podcasts I've ever recorded, because I feel like there was so much I could relate to. And even as a coach myself and a business owner, I feel like I've learnt so many lessons from today's podcast. And to wrap it up in a nutshell, a few huge takeaways that we spoke about today is that you can do all different types of sports. You don't have to specialize in one. And you don't have to fit yourself into a box. That was a huge, huge takeaway. The other takeaway, if you can take anything away from mine and Gemma's conversation today, is you need to have purpose and you need to believe in yourself. So without purpose and without belief in yourself and your why, when I asked Gemma what her 3 biggest lessons are, is your why. And we always talk about that and, finding that. But without that, you'll never follow through with what it is that you're trying to achieve. The third biggest takeaway, excuse me, which I feel like I could talk about for ages, is nutrition, is mindset in and around food. Like in today's episode, we spoke about that and what that looks like in different performance and how your body shape changes. But if your purpose is big enough, you don't care about what that looks or what other people's opinions are. And there's no such thing as good or bad food. There's just food. So it's how it makes you feel and what your purpose is, right? So it's getting back to number 2. If your purpose and your why is to feel good and to be the healthiest and fittest version of you, well, then you just eat accordingly to that. You don't have good or bad food. Some foods are more calorie dense and some foods are not more, are more nutritious. So I feel like there was a lot, and I really, really appreciate Gemma's time. I feel like there was so much lessons to be learned in today's podcast. So I can't wait to get more and more inspiring people on Real Talk Fitness with AMPT. But by far, this has got to be up there with one of my favorite podcasts. So thank you again, Gemma. I really, really, really appreciate it. I feel like I'm going to re-listen to this one. There's only a few of my podcasts I've ever recorded that I've actually re-listen to because I hate listening to my voice, and especially today with obviously a croaky voice. But by far, so many good lessons to learn, and coming from a coach herself as well as a teacher, I feel like there's a lot you can take away from today's episode. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, please don't forget to share it, because if we can change just one person's life just by a few lessons or conversations or answering of questions, we can change many. So until next time, guys, keep it real.